Hi, this is Tracy with DIY or Bust. The next phase of the project is to get the electrical rolling. What I'm going to do next is install my boxes, run my wires, install my breaker box, and then I'm just doing the rough wiring. So I'm not actually wiring up any outlets or switches yet, just putting in all the boxes for all of them. And here is my electrical plan. This is what the electrical plan looks like. And got some work to do. To avoid having to measure every single switch, outlet, and light box in the house, which I have about 60 of them, 60. I built a little jig. This is the bottom of the piece of wood. Got my 13-inch up from the bottom mark. 12 to 16 is what most people do, so I'm doing 13. And then the top here of the board is for my switches and kitchen counter outlets. So it'll just go like this. I'll just walk over, put my jig there, stick my Sharpie in there, mark the board, and move on to the next area. I ran my first two circuits under the house, and I drilled a total of 7 holes through this edge. I didn't drill straight down here because I have a doubled up 2x6s, and they're directly below this, so that wouldn't work anyway. So I just kind of drilled at an angle, and that worked just fine. I labeled the holes just to help me stay organized, and this is my panel that I'm going to use, and I'm going to have 12 circuits running into this. To help me figure out where I'm going to have these lines running under and through the house, and just to stay organized, I took a layout and made copies of it. So I've got 12 copies of the different circuits that I'm going to have. And because my panel is going to be all 120, I don't have to worry about load balancing. So this is where I'm standing right now in this plan. And so by just drawing out that I'm going to go under the house and then over and then straight out, and that's my first circuit, then I know where I need to drill my holes through the joists underneath, and just to stay organized so I don't have a big jumble of wires. So I took the time to map out each one of my circuits, and this has been very, very helpful because when I'm running the circuit, I just use this for reference. We're in the bedroom, and I just wanted to show you how I ran the wires in real life after figuring it out on paper. So this wire is coming up from below. So this wire runs all the way back and then under and up into the box. Okay, so this just comes straight here. Then it comes up here where I then just run to each box. Okay, now let me show you from this side just so it makes a little bit more sense. So the way that I do it is, because you're going to have your big coil of wire over here, probably. I'm right-handed. If you're left-handed, you probably would do the opposite. But so what I do is I go from, let's say I'm going to wire this box. I put the wire in this box. I run it up to this box. I pull out, make sure I have enough wires sticking out, and make sure I have a service loop, okay? Then after this box is the wire here, then I find the next box over, and I run that wire up, over, and around, and I repeat the process. Because you don't want to be pulling, I don't know, for me, I just didn't want to pull here and try and pull it in this way. It just made more sense to me. So if that works for you, great. If not, that's okay too. Now, I was very impressed that I was able to drill through all 4 of these. And the way that I did it, because you don't have a whole lot of space here, you know, because we're 16 inches on center. So my drill, let me get my drill. Right, there is my drill. I've got a nice auger bit on here, and I think this is a 3/4. Yeah, 3/4. So when you're in here, I have a little bit more space here, but on some of these, it's so tight, I had to kind of just drill at a bit of an angle. So for this, I was able to get it all the way through, and the tip stuck out, so that showed me where to do the reverse. Now, this one was going to be a problem, obviously. There was no way I was going to get no way I was going to get through all that. And this is a post, 4x4 post at the ridge line. So there's no way I'm notching all this, right? So what I did was I just went down, under, and then I came back up. And I also just went around and at my waist height, drew a Sharpie line all the way on all the studs so that it would be easier for me for height. Another thing I'm doing is I'm taking some of my scrap pecs, and after I drill my hole, I'm putting the pecs down into it so that I can easily find my destination when I'm crawling under the house. Here's my breaker box and all my wires that I will install. Here is the ground, which is going down to my grounding rods. And I have about 12 circuits that I worked out. Here is the 100 amp box. Now this is going to be feeding the power. The RV plug that I used plugs into here. This will be on the other side of that wall. So because outside here is where I will have a deck and a battery shed. So that cord is right now just hanging there. So the feed comes through, and I know you see a black and a red wire. So this is actually 120 that's coming in. I've grounded to the neutral bar. I've got my neutral hooked up. I pigtailed off the black. I checked, and this is acceptable to do rather than putting 2 wires into this lug. Don't worry, there's no power hooked up here, so I'm not in any danger touching these items. So rather than putting 2 wires into a single lug, I am pigtailing into that. And I just used the piece of red wire because I had it available, and I have marked it as black. So it's going into this side so that both sides are energized. Otherwise, I would only just put it here because I don't have 240, it's only 120. Therefore, there's not 2 hots. So I would just have one side, and this would be energized. But I don't have enough slots here. I need 12. Thanks for watching so much. I really learned a lot doing this project. And I wanna just put a special shout out to Lot 32. They are fabulous, inspired me so much, and I really appreciate everything that you did that was able to help me get my project done.